Welcome to the final video in the series of how Web3 can transform your business and ideally your life. So we have talked about what Web3 is, why Web3 matters, whether you should care or not, the potential use case scenarios for Web3 in your business, the risks, the security challenges, the way to overcome them, and finally, saving the best for last, the unimaginable benefits of Web3. And I say unimaginable because we truly cannot even imagine how this technology is going to benefit us. I'm going to take you through a couple different examples. Again, I created a whole series of this on YouTube. It's free to watch. It's literally free ideas for you to test and iterate and improve upon for NFTs to be used in a variety of different industries, a handful of different businesses. And I guarantee you, my friend, if you don't think there's a way for you to implement NFTs and what it is that you do now, I'm going to challenge you on that. So what are some of these unimaginable benefits? Well, anybody who's been in logistics, supply chain, product procurement, manufacturing, building, development, there can be a ton of different vendors and service providers involved in a business activity. Now, imagine buying a large materials purchase. You're acquiring a variety of different materials you need in order to fabricate or manufacture the product which you sell. And that product comes from overseas. With blockchain technology and smart contracts, an NFT could literally manage the supply chain from the original producer of a material to it arriving at your manufacturing plant, to it being added into your product, to that product being packed up, shipped, delivered to the retail outlet or warehouse where it will then be shipped to the final destination. All of that could be viewable, verifiable, and securely transferred from point A to point Z without anyone having to submit paperwork, sign off on a contract, send an invoice through, check an email, let alone be sick for any one of those transactions that needs to occur and delay the process altogether. It is already revolutionizing supply chain logistics and management in across industry. So that's a pretty macro example of how smart contracts and the benefits of NFTs can be used in the industry. Now I'm going to bring it right back to the individual. So imagine you as a creator need to fund your first big creative work or series of works. Maybe you're a painter and you want to do a gallery show. So you create an NFT series. You take a picture of yourself, load that up online, you make 10 of them. And it's picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, picture 4, so on and so forth. That's how they're non-fungible. They are 1 of 10. And you ask your friends and family to support you by buying each one of those images for $100, okay? That's your Genesis series. And you let them know as soon as your next project is created, they're gonna get first dibs, right? So by owning that NFT, they have the opportunity, the access to buy your second series of work. And maybe this takes a year. Now that holder has your NFT in their wallet. So you now have an event. You were picked up by a gallery. You're going to be exhibiting your first solo show, and everybody who supported your NFT, your Genesis series, gets an invite airdropped. It's dropped into their wallet that invites them to this event. And maybe they get access to everything that you've created to purchase beforehand, like a collector's event. You've now just created some loyalty and some added value to the people who supported you first. Maybe they buy, maybe they don't. The next time you create a series of work, you are again able to invite them to it. And this does give them access, again, early access, potentially there's better pricing, and they acquire some of your art. And you've been building your reputation. You've now exhibited in a few places, maybe you're in a museum, maybe some big famous person bought your art. So the perceived value of your art is going up. So this person is now an original NFT holder. They now own an original piece of your art, and your art is going up in value, which means the NFT is going to go up in value. Now, maybe this person falls on hard times and they need to liquidate some of their assets. They need to sell some of the things of value that they have so that they can pay their bills. Now, you have been building a massive fan base, right? as the creator. And so someone might desperately want this Genesis Series NFT that goes along with a physical piece of art. The person who needs to liquidate, who needs more money, can go to your community or can go to you as the creator and say, hey, I need to sell this and transfer ownership of this. Depending on the smart contract and the rules that you programmed in originally, you can help facilitate that, or without doing anything, that person can sell that piece of value to someone else who wants it and potentially make money on it. So you can see how this stuff really starts building. Maybe we fast forward 10 years. Now you are a world-renowned, famous artist. Your pieces are selling for tens of thousands of pieces of value, tokens of value, and you want to have a really big party. Who are the first people you're going to invite? The Genesis holders of your NFT. And maybe they get to sit down at a table with you. And so you can see how you're selling a promise, you're selling an asset, you're selling access, and you're selling this authentication of ownership. So this value is building. And you know who else benefits from it? Not just you, but your community members, the people who have believed in you since the beginning, or the people who believe in you along the way. Now, as you've gotten more funded and more experienced with this, you've started to also program into your smart contracts beneficiaries, people that are also benefiting. Again, it could be community organizations or charitable organizations. Maybe it's members of your family. Maybe it's someone who you met that really needs help. There are so many different ways you can bake all of this in as you start to grow, not just in your career or in your experience and value, but in your trust and your ability to create on Web3. Because as you start planting these seeds, you're going to start growing and harvesting completely new ideas, unimaginable ways we haven't even thought of to work with Web3. That's just me dreaming in. I really hope I'm inspiring you. I'm hoping to get your wheels spinning. I'll go through a service-based business towards the end of this, but let's just talk about some of the basic building blocks for the benefits of Web3. We've talked a lot about these throughout this series, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I think it's worth repeating because these are the transformational aspects that make this technology a complete game changer. And truly, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet in terms of how people are going to use this to create things we've never ever witnessed or participated in before. So firstly, the improved transparency. All of this, all of the examples that I just shared can be happening in broad daylight. Anyone can get onto some of these platforms that are scanning all of these transactions and displaying the digital ledger of the blockchain so that you can see what's happening. I mean, how many times have you bought from an organization that donates 10% of their proceeds to blah, blah, blah? Like, how do you know that? How much of those proceeds are actually going to admin to just support the donation? You know, there's so many things that we just take for granted in our day-to-day exchange that if everything were just on a whiteboard that you could just see all of the time, who knows what we would actually see. So that transparency to me is such a value add, and it's going to hold business and individuals accountable in a way that we haven't really discovered what that will do and what that will shift. This is going to reduce costs. I mean, what I went through with that supply chain logistics, the amount of people power it takes to get something from A to Z is wild. And I hear you objecting in the sense that we're going to lose jobs. No one wants that job. And I say that from a place of privilege and access, and I get it. But the jobs that will open up with the creativity available, those are the jobs for the humans, for the people that can really come together and figure out how can we co-create? How can we design something that hasn't existed yet, that can't be predicted, that is co-created in unison with this technology? Instead of just like clicking boxes on a time chart or punching pieces of paper or putting this part into that. These are things that are repetitive and actually are very automated activities that I actually believe when we free up the human energy and the creative power that we've been exchanging for value in those spaces and put it into places where we can truly connect and create, we're going to see rewards and remuneration and experiences for humans improve exponentially. So that is my own personal bias. When I think about my own business and the number of platforms, the number of third parties, the people and the systems and the software I'm giving my money away to, because we have yet to have had a technology that efficiently and transparently allows two different businesses to simply exchange with each other and then handle the invoicing and the exchange of value in return automatically, Like, it's unbelievable. Once we get this technology really working for us, it's going to change the landscape for small business. We are going to be able to compete on an enterprise level because of the way that we have always been nimble, we've always been responsive, and we've always been transparent with our loyal customer base. There will also be enhanced security. I mean, some of the issues that we're experiencing right now are just simply because this is such a new technology we haven't thought through, because we can't predict all of the different access points. But this level of transparency and accountability is going to yield a way of exchanging that is so secure and so trustworthy that it reduces this need for agents and lawyers and third parties. Again, that we invest a lot of money in to just move something. They just take the thing from A to B and then B to C and then C to D. But like, do we really need that? Last, but definitely not least, in fact, I probably should have led with this point, Web3 is going to give us completely new revenue streams. Ways of monetizing our services, our products, our experience that we've never thought of before. So for every person in business, I beg you to explore this technology, because there is no reason to plateau any longer. There is no excuse for not at least participating on this technology, with this technology on chain, so that you can start to experiment with entirely new ways of breaking through that income ceiling and discovering efficient, cost-effective, secure ways of making more, whatever that value is for you. Decentralization is going to not just change the way we do business, but the way we organize business. No longer will we need a corporate address or a team that is based in the same location. We've all gotten very experienced with remote work, but what does it look like if you don't even know where your team is? What if your team is working 24/7? How do we manage that? What if everybody takes ownership in the decision-making? What if your small, value, purpose-driven business is able to operate like a publicly traded company? So what I mean by that is that every single person involved in your business also has a vote. They also have a stake, which means that they are helping make the decisions that drive and grow the business, and they are also benefiting from them. It excites me because it's the way that I think, and it's the way that I want to do business with people. But now I have the ability to build that and make it real without needing these third parties that tell me what's legal, what's not legal, how I can do it, how I can't do it. I get to let the people that I'm organizing with decide that. And we can come together based on shared values and shared purpose. It's like all of the blends of nonprofit and economic systems and corporate that like makes each one of these such a debatable advantage way of organizing. Like, we can layer those on top of each other and create the organization of our dreams. The transparency I'm very biased towards it. And we're starting to see this in some of the bigger corporations out there, where they're creating transparent organizational charts and remuneration packages. So you know exactly how much your boss is getting paid. You know what your coworker is getting paid. You know what you need to do in order to get to that next tier of income. That's never really been that open, and there was a whole bunch of management theory behind that. But when we can see every single transaction and every single exchange that's occurring, it's really going to change the way that we do business with each other. Think about how you would do business differently if you knew what every one of your competitors out there were doing, and vice versa. If everyone could see the skeletons in your closet, or they could see the different ways that you're working with your people. Now, that might feel incredibly vulnerable and incredibly challenging. That's interesting. Think about your concept of idea ownership. Think about what makes you you and what gives you that edge. It's probably not the way that you're transacting, although that might be how you've been operating thus far. It's likely something inherent in the way you do things, the why you do things. So again, we get to this kind of like meta way of thinking about business, exchange, interoperability, security, transparency, accountability, ownership. Like, these are all things that I think we've very much taken for granted in business because it's all been happening behind closed doors. We're now blowing those doors open. We're building in public. And this is going to bring people together in a completely new way, especially when everybody's coming together to mutually benefit. Last, I think, is just to kind of talk about some of the ways that business is currently using Web3. again, more as a launch pad and a point of inspiration for you. And I encourage you to go and find some of these businesses as examples and potentially as models for ways that you can start playing in Web3. So first place, these decentralized marketplaces. For the now, we think of them as profile picture projects where you can buy and sell NFTs that look like two-dimensional art or potentially like 3D, sort of slightly more dynamic art. But imagine being able to buy anything on these marketplaces: cars, homes, shoes, art, ideas. You level this up with fractionalized ownership. So I participate in an ecosystem that sells famous quotes, famous lectures. You can buy like a piece of this intellectual property, right? And so I can collect my favorite lectures, my favorite writers, my favorite authors. And a lot of the people that I'm really interested in aren't necessarily mainstream. And so together we can vote on what projects we think should be acquired, and then we can purchase a piece of it. That's a completely different way of engaging with the ideas and thought leaders that you've loved and respected for most of your life. Secondly is digital identification and how we will blend that use of anonymity and security online. So how my buying behavior and how my habits are potentially being tracked and used by a business that I've given permission to, or how I can remain completely anonymous. Everything from the value that I'm exchanging, earning, spending, to the different platforms that I'm doing that on. So it's going to be there's all sorts of different identity management platforms out there on Web3 now that you can literally use as an application for your business to give your users complete security, privacy, and trust without having to own any of that process whatsoever. So we're really able to outsource to the experts and to the people who have already built the technology to make sure that your people, your customers, clients, buyers, patients, audience, fans are being taken care of in a manner that suits them best. We already talked about supply chain management. It is a complete game changer. It is already out there. There are entire industries that are being transformed. And if you've ever worked in supply chain, you know what I'm talking about, because most of the time industries, let alone businesses, are using completely different platforms with different softwares that don't communicate well with each other. Half the time they're still like archaic. You fill out a piece of paper, it's got 3 copies, each of them need to go into a different file. And if someone's sick that day, it doesn't happen. It's a complete nightmare. Web3 is going to transform all of that. Crowdfunding, I've sort of woven this in, but the way that DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, come together, the way that NFTs can allow you to monetize an idea or a promise or an experience, we are able to access funding and value in a way that isn't just a third-party platform managing it, but we are creating a direct relationship between each other where you can give me value and I can offer you something that benefits you, and we can continue to build on that. We might not see investors or VC firms or crowdfunding platforms or IPOs any longer. Smart chain Web3 technology can potentially replace a lot of the mechanisms that have essentially been hidden in those entities and those processes. Lastly, decentralized finance. Ultimately in business, that's really what we're talking about. This ability for you and I to exchange value without anybody else controlling it, let alone knowing about it. It is going to unlock, like I said, billions of people from only being able to engage in their very, very, very immediate community. Obviously, that's going to take time. But when we talk about accessibility, when we talk about agency, when we talk about privilege, in my opinion, Web3 is one of the most amazing technologies that, with not a lot of understanding or training, we can allow someone to transact with another person on the other side of the world and have that done instantly, securely, and transparently. So it's going to shift the way that we transact, and it's currently, I don't want to say responsible because I don't know how these things work, but we are seeing some major financial shifts as a result of this technology. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for sharing this vision with me. I am a resource for you. Find me in the Discord container. Find the link for that on any one of my social networks at the BZ channel. Please email me hello@NicoleBZ.com with any questions that you might have. I'm here for you. Let's keep this conversation going. If you're looking for more inspo, I definitely have some more resources on my YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you on Web3.